Hi, and welcome to this video. Today I want to go through my reading goals for 2022. I will be releasing, if I haven't already released, a video that is my sort of overview of my reading for 2021, but now I want to go over what my reading goals are for 2022. I do have a reading journal, and I'm one of those people that loves, I have so many journals of different things that they all get used. I'm a to-do list person. I have to have lists, and tick things off. Bullet journaling is just for me, I just have to do that. So obviously I have in my reading journal in the front, I have my 2022 reading goals with a list of things that I want to do that I can tick off and colour in and just feel super satisfied about. So my first reading goal of 2022 is to read at least 52 books. That was my goal for this year, and I surpassed it. Obviously still at the moment of filming this, still December, so I've surpassed it. At this current moment, I've read 60 books. I'm nearly finished another one, so I think I will have read about 61 or 62 books by the end of 2021. So I want to read 52 books in 2022. I think that's like a book a week, and I think that some months I'll read more, some months I'll read less. I think that's a good amount for me. I know that I'll read at least 12 books if I continue through with the book club that I'm planning on and joining. My second goal is to finish the rest of Octavia Butler's fiction novels. I think one of my goals for 2021 is to read all of them, or I don't know if I said that in my video, but I was hoping to read them all. I think I only have 5 books left. I've read, how many have I read? I think I read 8. So I think I only have 5 remaining. Let me see. So the books I have remaining are The Earthseed Duology, which is Parable of Sour and Parable of Talents. I have her short story collections, which is Bloodchild and Other Stories and Unexpected Stories, and I have to read her short story that was featured in an anthology, and the short story was called The Evening and the Morning and the Night, and it's in the book Crucified Dreams by Jo R. Lansdale. So those are the books I have left to read by Octavia Butler, and I would love to finish her bibliography, I guess. My next goal is to read a work of Shakespeare. That was one of my goals for 2021, and I read his sonnets, his complete sonnets. Didn't really like them, but I do have a couple of Shakespeare plays on my shelf. A couple of copies of Shakespeare plays, and I would like to read them. I think I have Othello and I have Measure for Measure. So I'd like to read one of those, because I feel like I can't decide whether I'm a fan of Shakespeare or not. Obviously, you can't not appreciate him. Can't not appreciate him and everything he did for theatre and literature and poetry. But I'm not sure if I'm personally someone that really enjoys his work yet. I remember really enjoying it in school, like Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth and all those, the ones you always learn at school. But I want to try Othello and Measure for Measure and see how I feel. So I want to read at least one work of Shakespeare. I want to read 3 psychotherapy books, or psychotherapy-based books. So this year I think I read 2. I read 2 for fun. For my master's degree I read at least 5, but I didn't include that in my Goodreads or as count as reading, because I was reading them because I had to, and I wasn't reading them cover to cover. I was reading the chapters or something. I probably should include them, but they weren't for pleasure, so I haven't included them. But I want to read 3 psychotherapy books for pleasure. There's a book that I started this year called A Matter of Life and Death, it's A Matter of Death and Life by Irvin Yalom. I was looking at it because on my bottom shelf is my psychotherapy shelf, and I started it this year, or last year. No, I started it this year, and then it's about him and his experiencing his wife's death, and they start the book writing it together, and he finishes the book writing it alone. And it's a reflection on life and death, and his life and his relationship to his wife and the grief process. I started the book, and I had a bit of a family trauma at the start of the year, and I wasn't in the headspace to read something that was that emotionally moving and emotionally draining. So I put it down, and I wanted to wait to the time where I really felt like I wanted to read it. But I absolutely adore Yalom's work and writing, so I'll probably do a review of it when I do read it. So that's one of the books that I would like to read, and I have quite a few psychotherapy books on my shelf that I haven't read yet that I want to read for pleasure, like books that I just look super interesting, as well as books that I will probably have to reflect on or read, or read chapters of for my work in general. I want to read 20 books that I already own. So I don't, rather than buying new books and reading those, which I tend to do, I want to read books on my shelf that I haven't read, and read at least 20 of them. I think I have around 20 or 30 that I haven't read already on my shelf, but I would like to read 20 books that I own. I want to read 3 works by Toni Morrison. I currently have read The Bluest Eye, and is it just The Bluest Eye? Maybe I've only just read The Bluest Eye. Oh, well, I adored The Bluest Eye. It really meant a lot to me personally, on a personal level. It really meant a lot. I would like to do what I'm doing with Octavia Butler and read her whole repertoire, but I can't commit to reading everything she's ever written this year, or all her fiction at least this year. So I want to read at least 3 of her books. I want to read 3 books by Audre Lorde as well. I've read some of her essays and her poetry collection Black Unicorn, and I really enjoyed it. I love Audre Lorde's writing, so I have a couple of her non-fiction books already on my shelf, so I would like to read 3 books by her, whether it's fiction, poetry, whatever. I don't think she wrote fiction actually, whether it's poetry or her like essays or non-fiction. I would like to read some books by her. And maybe as well, like with Octavia Butler, work towards reading all of her repertoire. I've also put the goal to read something by Sylvia Plath. I realise that I've never read Sylvia Plath. We didn't read it in my school. I'm sure I've read like her poems, like you know we see them online or whatever. But I never actually just read like The Bell Jar. And I feel like I have to. If I want to call myself a feminist, how have I not read The Bell Jar? So I'm going to read it. That's one of my goals. But I don't own that book, so that's one of the books that I will have to buy or ask for as a gift. But I'm trying not to buy any books until I've read all the books I own, so I might have to ask it for like a birthday gift. And I want to read 5 Caribbean, can't say the word, 5 Caribbean books on my shelf. By Caribbean books, I mean books that are written by Caribbean authors or authors of Caribbean heritage, so you might be like British but be of Caribbean heritage, or Caribbean American or something, because I did in last year or in 2020, I can't even remember now, the years are all blurry, but at some point I did a Caribbean book haul, and I wrote down all the books that I hold, the collection. I've added more to the collection now, and I wanted to read them all last year, but I just didn't get around to it. I had other books to read. So I've read quite a few, but I want to read the remaining, or at least 5 of the remaining books on my Caribbean bookshelf. Yeah, it's important to me to read books that kind of speak to a part of my heritage, and I like to read books by a variety of authors, and one day I would like to read a book from every country in the Caribbean, or every island in the Caribbean. I think that'd be really cool. So those are my goals, actually. I think that's all my reading goals for the year. I was reading from my notebook, and I think that's all of my goals. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do them all. I think I will. I feel like they're quite reasonable, and most of them are around books that I already own. Only a couple of books where I don't own them and I'll have to ask for them for gifts, or maybe ask them for gifts because I don't want to buy any new books. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new year and the new reading year. And I feel like I did pretty good this year. Considering how busy the year's been, I feel like I've done pretty good in my reading. And I feel like having I can say small reading goal, because 52 is still a hell of a lot of books. But compared to some people that read like 100 or 200 or 300 books a year, I don't know how. But I think it's better for me to have a more reasonable goal that feels easier to stick to, so I don't feel pressured, and so I don't feel like I'm going through the motions with reading. I'm actually like enjoying each story and feeling absorbed in each story. yeah, but I'm excited to see other people's reading goals. I love videos like this because I find them inspiring, and I always end up adding to my reading goals because I just want to, yeah, I want to read everything, and I love it when people talk about their sort of desires in terms of reading for the new year. But yeah, happy reading, and I will see you around.